Thank you, Gary, and to everybody who purchased a dessert. So we'll go ahead and get started with the awards and narrations tonight. Well, welcome everyone to our 138th annual Oskaloosa Chamber Banquet. I am Ann Frost. It's the first time I get to say that as Ann Frost. I am the Executive Director of the Oskaloosa Chamber. The staff at OACDG is happy to host this annual event, and we thank you for your continued support of our organizations. This last year we have seen change, experienced growth, and we have had some growing pains. Along with that growth, we celebrate small and large successes and have learned how to use our strengths to better our team. We have made over 100 business visits in the last year. We've had 24 new businesses partner with us. We've made 13 education and connection events, updated our website, reformed our tourism committee, personally assisted over 10 entrepreneurs with potential business information and ideas, 7 community tours, assisted 3 Mahaska County communities with 5 grant applications, won 2 awards for the A to Z Foodie Trail, and 2 awards for Main Street, Iowa, along with a plethora of other duties and jobs as assigned. We've been very busy this last year. Because of your continued encouragement, we are able to accomplish the quality of life events that we all love: economic development, business promotion, and local support. With that, we want to acknowledge our top sponsors for our summer events this year. They're listed on this beautiful banner that we have up here, but I would like to take a minute for us to give them recognition, because without their volunteerism, leadership, and financial support, we would not be able to host our events at the level that we do. So once I say your business name, would you please stand a representative? Clow, Musco Lighting, No Coast, True Bank, Bank Iowa, Brown Shoe Fit, Hy-Vee, Mahaska Health, Midwest One Bank, and Oskaloosa Vision Center. So if we can give them all a hand. So not only are we here tonight to celebrate you and all you do for Oskaloosa, but we are also here to celebrate Oskaloosa as a community. We have been a community for 175 years. I'm from the 1800s, obviously, if you can't tell. In 1844, Oskaloosa was formally platted when William Canfield moved his trading post business here. Throughout the 1880s, over 1 million tons of coal was mined from 38 different mines around the area. In 1895, coal mining in our area outsurpassed all other Iowa counties. We have always been a community of hardworking people and a booming local economy. Oskaloosa hosted the Iowa State Fair in 1858 and 1859 before the Civil War. Did anybody know that? No, yeah. We should bring it back, right? No. No, I'm not going to do that. In 1864, the Oskaloosa City Band was formed. They were the KT Band, or the Knights Templar Band, and has been going strong ever since. In 1934, Oskaloosa became the first city in the United States to fingerprint every man, woman, and child. I don't know why they did that, but that was just a little fun fact. We have an eclectic history of music, arts, culture, education, inventors, visionaries, and development. We have always been a community of diversity and acceptance. This is seen in our university, William Penn University. William Penn opened their doors in 1873 to anyone who wanted an education: man, woman, African American, or Caucasian. There is value in everyone, a statement that William Penn University stands behind. It is true for our whole community. Oskaloosa is valuable. You are valuable. Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. I sincerely hope you enjoy the evening, the food, the dessert, the entertainment, but most of all, I hope that you enjoy being a partner with the Oskaloosa Chamber, that you see the value in the Oskaloosa Area Chamber and Development Group. So now, Carrie Vandery, the chair of the Oskaloosa Chamber, is going to come up, and we will start with the awards. So Carrie, I have a joke for you. Okay. Is Google a man or a woman?
It's gotta be a woman.
And why is that?
finish a sentence before making a suggestion.
That's right. You know, you start typing into Google and it finishes your sentence. So the first award we have tonight, since opening its doors in 1997, this organization has provided the Oskaloosa community with a place to foster the arts and enrichment activities of all sorts. The venue includes state-of-the-art lighting and sound equipment, a full orchestra pit, and seating for 600 patrons. It also serves as one of the few large group recording studios in Iowa. Within one brief decade, it has become unquestionably favored among audiences, performers, and agents alike. Running a full season of professional programming, the facility comes alive with super entertainment. In addition to exceptional shows, they serve a community and educational facility featuring a multitude of area events and children's theater programs. This facility has been made possible through the legacy of its namesake, who left his estate for the betterment of the Oskaloosa community. What began as a seed for growth, the motto of the Family Trust, has grown into a venue for high-caliber performances and educational opportunities equal to those of the big cities. Congratulations to George Daly Auditorium for the 2018 Old Oak Award. Accepting the award tonight is Randy Wright, Executive Director. Reading everything tonight. Okay, the next award is the Acorn Award. And the Acorn Award recognizes a business that has been in business for less than 20 years and brings something unique or special to Oskaloosa and Mahaska County. This year's Acorn Award winner is a business that has been taking grilled cheese sandwiches to a whole new level. With sandwiches named the Brave New PB&J or Ragooni's Never Say Die, WanderLunch has been serving soup and sandwiches from their food truck for the last 3 years. Now with a more permanent location inside Penn Central Mall, Oskaloosa will be able to enjoy the famous soups and sandwiches from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. year-round with a new expanded menu. Congratulations, Heather Nelson and WanderLunch, this year's Acorn Award winner.
This year we have a tie. It was a very close race for the coveted Golden Dipper Award. In fact, so close that it is a tie between two deserving persons. Out of 52 events throughout the year, they both attended 44 events. To honor their dedication and devotion to welcoming, meeting, and greeting businesses and persons in the Mahaska County, we present the traveling Golden Dipper to Michelle Rupprecht. McCulley, recognizing her as a winner since 1998 for winning 19 of the last 20 years. Thank you, ladies. We'd like to thank you, ladies, for your continued dedication to the OACDG in Mahaska County. Another joke. Two peanuts were walking down the street. One was assaulted.
I don't think Grant found that very funny. So tonight we have some special entertainment and we have a special guest. So will special guest number 1 please come up to the stage?
All right. They're going to stand right there. They say that my father was the first white man to furrow the ground in what today is Mahaska County. He was a native of Kentucky, a tall, strong man who was a veteran of the Black Hawk War. My wife was a small, petite woman, but sick and fragile. I was born in a cabin near Burlington before Iowa was even a state. In the spring of 1843, my father was appointed territorial sheriff of the New Purchase, a section of land that had recently been bought from the Native Americans. He set out to organize the county and left his family behind in Fairfield. Later that year, my mother succumbed to illness and died. So I was only 6 years old when I joined my father on the rolling hills on farmland that now is the south side of Oskaloosa. As for me, mine was a rags to riches tale. Though my father was influential, he couldn't translate that into any money. So I gained what education I could from the frontier schools here in Oskaloosa. Frustrated, by the age of 13, I decided I wanted to go to a high school. There wasn't one in the area. So I walked myself on foot to Newton and to live with relatives so I could attend the Newton Academy. Now, it only took 1 year for me to realize that I knew more than the sum of all the teachers in that building. So I walked back home, and that ended my formal education. So at age 15, I got a job at a grist mill, but I learned then that I didn't take after my father's side of the family. He was a big, strong working man, but I was small of stature and more of a thinker. So I left factory life behind to become a page at the 8th Iowa Assembly, now in Des Moines. And that's when I put that basic education to work, reading every single book I could get my hands on about law. When I was done there, though I was young and self-taught, I took the Iowa bar and passed and started working in the office of H.W. Sievers in Oskaloosa. Now, I had a deep desire to be self-made, so I took a job as the headmaster of the Rose Hill School and saved every money I could preparing for my big move. Finally, at age 28, I loaded my saddlebags full of my law books and headed to Council Bluffs, the gateway of the West. That is where I found my two loves, Jenny Hart, who had become my young bride, and real estate development. Now, Jenny taught me how to love arts, and the money I made led to the opportunity to travel the world and see a lot of art. Tragically, she fell ill, and after 12 years of being bedridden, she died in 1878. I made all my money when I invested in Pottawatomie County, which was just opened up in western Iowa. I bought great sections of prairie ground, and when the railroad came through, I made millions. But deep in my heart, I wanted to give back to others who are less fortunate. So I became a real-life George Bailey. Even though some said it was folly, I created the Loan and Building Association of Council Bluffs in 1877. And thousands of people bought homes and started small businesses because of that company. Afterwards, they appointed me the president of the First National Bank of Council Bluffs. By the turn of the century, I took a well-financed retirement, moving to Des Moines and focusing on philanthropy. I created a hospital in Council Bluffs named after my late wife, started the Des Moines Arts Center, and in 1906 commissioned Sherry Fry to build a sculpture in honor of my father. It would be Chief Mahaska and would sit in the Oskaloosa Square. In 1909, it was unveiled, and 12,000 people were there for the unveiling. My final gift to Oskaloosa occurred upon my death in 1837, where I donated $20,000 and the family homestead to create a beautiful public space that has now become a hub of recreation for all of Mahaska County. You can play disc golf, you can swim, or you can go for a walk. Does anybody know my name? That's right, J.D. Edmondson.
Some interesting history there. Our next award is for Main Street Leadership Award. Janet Kuskie, the Main Street Volunteer of the Year, is recognized for their significant investment in the Oskaloosa Main Street program. This year's awardee is quite likely to be the youngest ever recognized, and in her short tenure on Main Street Board has proven herself to be a strong advocate for the program. As board president, she's taken on many responsibilities and has always given 110%. Her passion and drive for the excellence has helped keep Main Street on the right track and moving towards their goals. Please join me in congratulating Janet Kuskie, our 2019 Main Street Volunteer of the Year.
This local business's exceptional customer service and innovative spirit has helped them excel in today's ever-changing world of retail. When circumstances made it difficult for their customers to come to them, they found a way to bring products directly to their customers. This retailer is known for their friendly service before and after the sale. They are engaged in both the Chamber and Main Street on various boards and committees, as well as events and more. Here tonight to accept the award for Main Street Iowa Business of the Year is Brown Shoe Fit Brian Meyer. The next award is the Main Street Iowa Remarkable Retail Promotion for Women's Night Out. The Main Street Iowa Remarkable Retail Promotion Award recognizes an exceptional activity that benefits this district. This year, a group of Oskaloosa retailers were selected to receive this statewide award for their annual Women's Night Out. The Oskaloosa Retailers Group is a collective of business owners who put on promotional activities in the community. Together with the help of the Chamber, the retailers coordinated their planning and marketing efforts for maximum effectiveness. From ads to shared photos and live videos on social media, the event caught the attention of shoppers around Iowa. Shops focused on creating fun, engaging experiences, and most importantly, built relationships with future customers. We recognize these businessmen and women for their creativity and entrepreneurial spirits. Tonight we ask any retailer who participated in the event to step forward to accept the Main Street Iowa Remarkable Retail Promotion Award. Oh, yeah, Mike and Debbie. And Deb. Yep.
I'm tall. I'll stand in the back. I know you are.
Just look down. So obviously this is a fun night. We're having special guests and some jokes. So this is one of my favorite jokes. Nobody in my family found this one funny. A three-legged dog walks into a saloon in the Old West. He slides up to the bar and announces, "I'm looking for the man who shot my paw." Get it? No?
Okay, retail business of the year. This structure was originally built for retail and to provide gathering place for the community. Because of that, they have worked to adapt that space for a wide range of community events and organizations. They continue to focus on retail and are excited about the addition of the following new tenants since 2018. Since 2018, these groups have joined the mall: Oski News, KIIC Radio, Oskaloosa's Old School Pinball, and that's fun, you guys all need to go play that, and Arcade, and most recently, WanderLunch. They are pleased to play host to the Pet Adopt-a-thon, music and theatrical performances, Merry Tuba Christmas, vendor shows, breast cancer awareness walk, and many others. In 2018, the mall hosted 180 events that attracted 16,756 people. 2019 is off to a great start, as they have hosted 52 events already this year. Through their support of retail development, they've begun hosting pop-up shops as a way of exploring new opportunities and supporting small businesses and budding entrepreneurs. Our retail business of the year is Penn Central Mall. It's time for another special guest. Special guest number 2, would you please come forward?
It would be my honor.
Thank you, darling. Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to have me here. I know. So, you all may not have heard me, but I'm sure that you all have heard of me. And I'm not one for giving speeches. Here, you in last year's dress, come here, come here.
It's all I can afford.
Thank you. I was born in 1849 in western Pennsylvania, and I remember the raids across the Mason-Dixon line. I was 12 when the Civil War began. It was an awful rebellion. I could sing Yankee Doodle without any words before I was 1 year old. I had musical training from the womb. After high school, I moved to Chicago to pursue my dream. At the Chicago School of Music, I was hired professionally to sing in New York and Chicago. I was the prima donna of the New York City Opera. And then I got married. So I moved to Oskaloosa in 1869 to marry the son of a prominent coal merchant. But he died when my son, let's call him Teddy, was only a week old. A firm believer in travel as a most expedient incentive to educational advancement for my son, I made it my practice during his school vacation to take my manly, business-like little son with me as a companion, counselor, and escort, whether to entertainments or on journeys. Even while yet a lad in knee pants, he accompanied me on my concert tours as my piano accompanist and frequently sang with me in duets, his voice being then very high and remarkably pure and flexible, blending perfectly with my highly cultivated voice. And so I continued traveling around the country during the summers, performing while he wasn't in school, until he graduated and became a student at the same school of music I had attended. We lived in the Maison du Lac Hotel in Chicago. Very exclusive, very private, you've never been there. So, I sang and taught, met many famous people, including Sarah Bernhardt, Melba, Caruso, you know Caruso, and others. We were part of the World's Fair there in 1893. But then we moved back to Oskaloosa to be with my mother and help to charter the Women's Club in 1895. Now, the Women's Club, you may not know, was founded because the Masonic Library had burned down and there were no libraries in town for women to check out books. There was a YMCA library, and the women helped to collect those books. They raised the funds, but could we check out the books? No. And so we started the Women's Club so that we could raise money to have a city library, and we did. We built the city library, we wrote a letter to Carnegie, we became a Carnegie Library, and we were off. And so in my time with the Women's Club, we built a restroom in the courthouse with a matron in attendance. There was no women's restroom in the courthouse or in the fairgrounds, so women couldn't really leave their homes for very long periods of time. We sponsored art in classrooms. We raised money to build the hospital. And I taught music out of my home at the same time, the Italian method of voice and the Leschtitsky piano method. I'm sure you're all familiar. And then I was elected president of the Women's Club, and I served 2 terms through the typhoid epidemic in Oskaloosa, where we asked the supervisors to light the town clock so the doctors could travel at night. We asked the mayor and the council to enforce sewer laws, mandate covered garbage cans, and SWAT flies. And we encouraged counties, the women in the county districts to join as well. By the 1910s, we had 600 paying members of the Women's Club throughout Mahaska County. And we became involved in politics, fought for suffrage, and went on from there. So my son, you may remember Teddy, yes, Teddy, he became a prominent composer, and I became a lyricist. I wrote the lyrics to his songs. We were the only mother and son duo in the business. And he moved back to Oskaloosa in 1920 after being the music director for the first Wizard of Oz play, among other accomplishments. He wrote over 200 compositions, played Santa for children in 1917 in New York, and met Harrison, McKinley, Roosevelt, Taft, and Harding as they served as president. We entertained Sousa when he came to Oskaloosa. We rallied a cast of 200 people to perform in a musicale for him. And of course, I was the fairy queen. And my son, Teddy, he loved to take people around in his 7-passenger Cadillac. But unfortunately, he succumbed in 1924 to apoplexy and left me alone for 16 years. I outlived him by 16 years. But I lived to see the 40th anniversary of the Women's Club in 1935. So you've all heard of me. Who am I? Thank you. Yes, Virginia Knight Logan.
Good job, whoever got that. Okay, the next award is the Service Business of the Year. This family-owned business helps clean up Mahaska County. Whether working the phones and pushing paperwork or running the route with his employees, the owner isn't afraid to get his hands dirty. In his free time, he coaches Little League and supports the Warhawks in his hometown of New Sharon. He picks up trash all over Mahaska County, and he and his employees go above and beyond when needed for their customers. As the single trash hauler for the city of University Park, this company's employees walk through yards and up muddy driveways to pick up trash from homes that had no access to the road. The OACDG Service Business of the Year goes to Local Disposal Incorporated. And Adam Eischen, please come up here and receive your award. The next one is the Industry of the Year, and Molly Walker wrote this up, and it just is very beautiful. It's just really pretty right up. Nestled in the picturesque farmland of Mahaska County. Isn't that just beautiful? This family-owned business was founded in 2006. As one of Iowa's largest wineries, it boasts 66 acres of vineyards and produces quality, award-winning wines in their state-of-the-art cellar. All of their wines are fermented, blended, and bottled on site, In addition to producing their award-winning wines, Tassel Ridge Winery hosts several events such as Wine and Wood Fire Oven Pizza Night, Bistro Lunch, or Wine and Burgers, to help pair their perfect bottle of wine with your meal. Thank you, Bob and Charmin Werson, for being a part of our community and making Mahaska County home for Tassel Ridge Winery.
We have a little trivia here for you. In 1844, Oskaloosa was a pioneer village containing only 13 crude cabins and 2 stores. The town grew rapidly, and by 1853, when it was incorporated, had a population of about 1,000. Oskaloosa was named for a Creek princess named Oskaloosa, which means last of the beautiful. Oskaloosa was captured by the Somalis and married Osceola, a Somalian chief. A little trivia for you there. Okay, our next. There we go. The next award is Business Person of the Year. Since moving to Oskaloosa in November of 2011, this business person has immersed himself and his family not only into their business but also into our community. He is currently serving on the Chamber Commerce Committee and the Chamber Board of Directors, the Retail Committee, and Economic Vitality Committee. He donates his time calling local football and basketball games, umpiring baseball and softball, and coaching youth sports. This year, coaching his daughter Alyssa's softball team. Always willing to go above and beyond for our community, Brown's Shoe Fit has been long considered a downtown designation serving Oskaloosa and Mahaska County. Owner Brian Myers and his staff are fun, friendly, honest, and helpful, and offer phenomenal customer service. Brown's Shoe Fit was recognized in March at the 2019 Main Street Iowa Awards as Main Street Business of the Year. All that being said, our Business Person of the Year, Brian Myers.
Next award is the Community Improvement Award. This goes to a group that keeps the community in mind every moment of the day and night. This department was organized in 1871 with humble beginnings and a small 2-story, what happened to my page? Thank you. Brick building. In 1908, a new building was designed by Frank Weatherall. That building received an extreme makeover recently to include renovations, added square footage, and added equipment to the tune of $3.1 million. That renovation included additional space for the engines and trucks, private sleeping quarters for each fireman, additional restrooms, safer access to the second floor, and upgraded technology features. That renovation is only a minor part of their commitment to improving our community. Other community improvements include use of the new aerial ladder truck, which I have been up in, and that is pretty scary, but it's also a lot of fun. They provide the splash pad enjoyment at such events as Christmas in July, as well as participation at the Southern Iowa Fair and barbecue for badges. Accepting the award tonight for the Oskaloosa Fire Department are Chief Neff and Mark Tennyson. Educator of the Year. I'm just going to read the kind words that Ginny Feudner wrote to nominate the Educators of the Year. This couple is truly passionate about teaching. They have been involved in a multitude of productions in Oskaloosa with people of all ages and skill levels. The summer camps and theater productions with the students go beyond just teaching the students acting skills. They are also teaching them life skills. They challenge the students to think outside of the box with creativity and solving problems. They help to improve the students' writing skills when they have them write their own scripts. The students' original films help them become more familiar with the technology. They teach students teamwork skills, and older students are given leadership responsibilities. They help them to gain confidence in speaking in front of large groups. They celebrate each student's uniqueness and help them to appreciate the uniqueness of others. All of these skills can be applied to future careers outside of the arts. It is obvious that the kids enjoy the summer camps when I have seen kids returning year after year. The theater becomes a second home to some of these kids. I have had the pleasure of knowing this couple through the theater program at George Daly Auditorium. My son has participated in the summer camps at Daly. I have participated in the musical George, the original show Home Again, the adult theater lab, and an interactive murder mystery with them. Andy and Allison cared deeply about Oskaloosa and Mahaska County. When they organized the original production Home Again last spring and summer, they brought together people from all over the community to create a show that was uniquely about Mahaska County and Oskaloosa. They truly care about Oskaloosa and see the great value in the people that live here. Ginny, I could not have said it any better. Andy and Allison McGuire, thank you for being our Educators of the Year. You very much deserve it.
Okay, our next award is the Chuck Russell Award. Chuck.
Sorry.
All right, Chuck Russell was one of Oskaloosa's great community leaders and continually worked to make the town a better place. As many of you are aware, he was not just a community leader, but also an incredibly knowledgeable local historian and was known to have collected and contributed to a vast photograph collection that cataloged a visual archive of the community up to his death in 2010. In 2019, we'd like to recognize two individuals that continue the principles that Chuck Russell embodied with his service to the community. Ken and Ginger Allsup are the operators of the local news source, Oskaloosa News. Along with their businesses, the Allsups have created and curated a vast and prolific photo collection built on the same community pillars laid down by Chuck Russell. As one would glance through the collection, you'd find photos of toothless children eating sweet corn on the square, the latest emotional victory or defeat of local sports team, the next great piece of artwork, the most heated local political debate, and the most famous presidential candidate, and the most heart-wrenching community event. Ken is able to focus. Ken is able to focus breathtaking moments of life through the viewfinder of his camera. Ginger, an equally skilled photographer, has contributed just as much to the iconic collection, making some believe one amazing photographer can be in two places at one time. Beyond their photographs, any seemingly short interaction can turn into a deep and engaging conversation about the love of the community before they need to rush off to the next big news event in town. Just as the Chuck Russell collection captured the essence of Oskaloosa as a home place, the Allsup collection continues the tradition of the visual archive of life in our community. Now, the only real question is, as you're both receiving this award, who's going to be taking your picture? Ken and Ginger, thank you for all you've done and all you continue to do. The Oskaloosa Chamber and Development Group proudly present to you two amazing photographers with the Chuck Russell Award. please come forward. My goodness, that last one was a mouthful, and here we go again. Okay.
Right, Willie?
So we have a special award tonight called the Polar Vortex. Any of you remember anything about that this winter, you know? The 2018-2019 winter in Oskaloosa was one we will never soon forget. We entered into not only a huge amount of snow, but a polar vortex. Our City Streets and Parks Division, a part of the Public Works Department, had 9 operators performing winter maintenance during all of our winter snowstorms. Akeisha Hall, Public Works Director for the City of Oskaloosa, shared some numbers with me. The Street and Parks crew are responsible to remove 137 lane miles of public roadway and downtown alleys, 14 parking lots, sidewalks on 19 city-owned properties, and on roadways in Forest Cemetery. A single winter storm event may require the crew to plow 900 lane miles of road work and work 14 to 23-hour shifts. An additional 8-hour shift is also required to remove and haul the snow from the central business district. If you remember our roundabouts that popped up all the winter long. Last year the crew plowed 10,500 lane miles of roadway, 12 different winter storms, used 600 tons of salt, 600 tons of sand, and 20,000 gallons of brine, 3,500 gallons of fuel, and removed 1,300 truckloads of snow from our downtown. That's a lot of snow. They did all of this with 8 trucks, 1 front end loader, 1-ton pickup truck, 1 utility vehicle, and 1 tractor. Way to go, Public Works Department of Oskaloosa. You get our special Polar Vortex Award this year. Thank you for all you did in keeping our roads clean and our people safe. About that snow, we forgot all about guest number 3. Would you come on up and tell us your story?
Pardon me. Well, few of you may know this, but I was an important figure in African American history, and I once called Oskaloosa home. I was a successful journalist, a proponent for labor activist, a community organizer, and was the first black person to run for office of the presidency of the United States. Some people think it was Jesse Jackson and the Rainbow Coalition, but and a lot younger ones think it would be Barack Obama. I was born in 1857 in pre-Civil War Arkansas to an Amanda Haynes, who was a free woman, and a Byron Nathan Taylor, who was an enslaved man. When the state of Arkansas passed the Free Negro Expulsion Act in 1859, my mother was forced to leave when I was just 2 years old. We settled in a poor neighborhood in Alton, Illinois, but just a few years later, a tuberculosis outbreak struck and took my mom and left me orphaned. After that, at 5 years old, I was left to panhandle for myself in the riverboat towns in Mississippi. In 1865, I arrived in La Crosse, Wisconsin, where a politically active black family took me in and fostered me until I was 20. I didn't have any formal education, but I was a quick learner. After attending Wayland University in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, I returned to La Crosse, where I went to work as a reporter for the La Crosse Free Press and the La Crosse Evening Star. During the years of 1880 to 1885, my column was picked up across Wisconsin and in Chicago. My newspaper work brought me into politics, especially labor politics. In 1887, I helped elect the pro-labor candidates across the state and later became the leader of Wisconsin's statewide Labor Party. I started my own newspaper called the Wisconsin Labor Activist, which became widely circulated paper across the country, advocating for pro-worker rights. In it, I revealed an uncanny command of the language and the ability to know when to lead and when to follow. Later that year, I attended the National Union Labor Party convention, in which met in Ohio. It was here many Union Labor Party members first realized, surprise, surprise, I was a black man. This caused quite a stir and a division of rifts between the party members. For some, feared that black workers would still work. They took our jobs mentality has been around for a long time. And so it fractioned and caused divisions, and it dropped the sales of the African paper. After this, I learned a valuable lesson, and from here on out, I focused heavily on African American issues and the impact of the newly enforced Jim Crow laws. In 1891, I moved to Oskaloosa, where I set up a print shop and started the new publication, The Negro Solicitor. I became the president of the National Colored Men's Proactive Association, an early civil rights organization, and the National Negro Democratic League, an organization of blacks within the Democratic Party. Here in 1893, I hired a young, beautiful typist, and though she was young, I proposed to her, and she became my wife. She became an essayist and writer for the paper in the next 10 years. From 1900 to 1904, I aligned myself with the populace that attempted to reform the Democratic Party, but failure to gain traction in the party and the continued enforcement of the Jim Crow laws by the Southern Democrats led us to become disenfranchised. By 1904, I and other independent-minded African Americans joined forces to create the first national political party, exclusively for blacks and by blacks, the National Labor Party. The NLP met at its first national convention in St. Louis, Missouri in 1904, with delegates from 36 states. When the party's first candidate for president ended up in a jail cell, I was approached to fill that position. While my national campaign attracted little attention, the party's platform had a national agenda: universal voting rights for all, regardless of race, and federal petition for rights for all citizens, federally anti-lynching laws, and additional black regiments in the U.S. Army. I realized our chances of winning was slim, but it put our agenda on the national forefront. But it was my hope that as black voters, we could gain influence within the Washington, D.C. and others could gain attention. Sadly, I only received a few thousand votes from across the country. And in some states, voter suppression laws were used to suppress our votes and keep people away from the polls. Either way, that campaign was my last into public politics. Back in Iowa, I moved for a time and went to a small, bustling, coal mining town called Buxton. But sadly, my wife, she was not one for the country life, so she decided to move back to Oskaloosa for big city living. Dealing with some health issues, in 1908, I moved from Buxton to Ottumwa to receive better medical care. And while I was there, I was appointed warden of the Black, yes, thank you. Mark Ruby, a moment. Yes, after moving back to Ottumwa, I was appointed the police warden of the Black District and started up the Black Negro Solicitor. 2 years later, I moved to Florida to the warmer climate would be easier on my health, where I edited a successful newspaper and was director of the African American branch of the YMCA. I sat on the board of the Walker National Business College, one of the nation's largest black colleges. In my life, I was an independent populist first, a Democrat second, and always an advocate for black rights. In the time of Jim Crow, I tirelessly used my newspapers to shine light of injustice and did everything I could to see the promise of America advancements to all Americans. I called Oskaloosa home. Anyone know who I was? Who? No. No Googling. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? My name was George Edwin Taylor.
Enjoying our special guests, and I know our night's running a little bit long, but we just have a few more awards to get through. This award is the Up and Comer Award. This lady had a dream to start her own business, and she chose Oskaloosa because of the supportive business vibe. It took her some time to find the right location, but she persisted, believing that God was opening the right doors and closing doors to paths she shouldn't go down. She opened her salon a little over 2 years ago, and last year expanded the shop with a boutique that blended perfectly into the feel of her salon. From the beginning, she has supported other entrepreneurs who have sought to open a business in Oskaloosa while growing hers into a destination shopping location. She helps plan and participate in retail events like the Boutique Crawl and Women's Night Out. Her dedication to giving quality products and great customer service while supporting others in the Oskaloosa business community makes Deb Linder of Stella's Salon an OACDG 2019 Up-and-Comer. One last special guest number 4.
I just have a small car. But I can't see it. Okay. I came to Oskaloosa with a wish and a dream. And I had nothing more but a backpack, like a knapsack type deal on my back. and I would every day I would pack that. I would fill that backpack with the wares, like wares that I would sell, like at your homes, like brushes and sponges. This is a horrible squeak. Yes, I'm sorry. These newfangled things. Yeah, okay. I sell these wares out of my backpack. I go from door to door every day. I get up in the morning. I fill up my backpack. I go to your house, I go to everybody's house. But I can't go to everybody's house in one day. But I do make money, and I'm wondering, one day I wonder, how can I expand my business? And it's a funny thing, because I was walking past the stables, and I heard somebody go, and I look around. There's nobody there. Hey! There's a horse over there. I walk over there. Now you tell me, you hear a horse say, hey, you're going over, right? I go over, and the horse, he just stares at me. Just stares, and I could read into his eyes. And I thought, he has a wonderful idea. From his eyes to mine, he gave me the idea. I need to purchase this horse so I can throw my saddlebags. I can get saddlebags, put it on the back of the horse. I can fill the saddlebags with my wares. I can put 8 times more things in the back of this horse, on this horse, so I can go from a little more further out of town. I can cover more ground in one day, and I do this for a long period of time until I make some more money. And one day we're walking. I'm trying to think of a way to sell my wares, more of my wares, and we're walking up on the square. We're walking by the square uptown up there, and my horse just right there on the corner of High and Market. He just stops. There's just an area there, and he just stops. And I say, "Get going." He goes, and I tell you what, when you spend every day from sun up to sundown with the horse, you learn what they're saying. So he was saying, "Look over this," which means look over this way. And I looked over, and there's a wagon. He was tired of carrying the backpacks the saddlebags on his back, so he wanted me to go get that wagon. He was going to pull the wagon. We were going to fill the wagon with my goods. I could take a lot of goods further and further around town faster with the wagon. I would not have to go back to my itty-bitty little warehouse time after time during the day. I make more money, and that's what money is for, to make. Anyway, then, as we sell our wares, I'm doing really well out of my wagon. And for years, I find a wife, and my wife actually, she becomes president of the women's club for a term. And then we also start building a house over by where the Y is now. That house over there on the corner, across from the Y, the big one with and I tell you what, I was a little shocked when I went to my house today, because I put a lot of effort into that house, and it just looks like if somebody could take a power washer to the side of that house, it would look a lot nicer. Because it's a nice house. I put a lot of effort into that house, and it just hurts me to see it dilapidated. Anyway, I come back to the corner again, right there off from the square. And the horse, he stops the wagon right there, like he's had it. And I thought, what is wrong with this horse? And he projects to me, he says, "You know what you gotta do?" He says, you park the wagon here. And as I was parking the wagon there, and I was talking to the people around me, they were coming to the wagon, and they started buying my wares right off of the wagon. And I got it right then. This is one smart horse. He says, he makes me think Why don't I just build a building right here? I can keep all my wares right here in this building and sell shoes. And today, that building is the brown shoe building. It does look different today than what it did look like when I had it. But I guarantee you, after a fire in 1906, and then there was another fire in 1916, but that is the same exact building, the same foundation that it sits on right now today. And the people of Oskaloosa, they were so happy of the things that I had done for this town, the contributions I'd made. They got together, and up on the square, they built me a memorial, a grand memorial. It was made of white marble and out of a trellis with fountains. With fountains. I went there to look at it today. Oh, another disappointment. The trellis is gone. But I did notice. I saw, well, there's a flower pot there. And then I look at it closer. This is no flower pot. It's my fountain, and somebody's filled it full of water, and they planted flowers in it. So anyway, I thought, well, hey, this is good. The flower pot is still there, and so maybe people still remember me. But the biggest thing they remember me for is the building that I built on the corner of High and Market, and that's where the man here, who's winning all these awards, is doing good. He's doing good out of that building there, and I too also did well. So if you can guess, maybe who I may be.
Ah.
Yes, the winner. There you go.
What was the name again? Baldock?
Sam Baldock.
Sam Baldoff.
Sam Baldock.
Baldoff.
Baldock.
All right. Our next award coming up is for Citizen of the Year.
Nice job, Sam.
Yep. Vernie Wells, can you please come up to the front, please? So Vernie Wells was born in 1926 to Joe and Nora Wells, was raised in the rural portions of southeast Mahaska County, moving into Oskaloosa in 1935. Wells' father was a drinker. One evening at a local tavern, another patron gave young Vernie some money for a burger and soda from the nearby eating establishment across the street. While trying to cross the street, Vernie was struck by a truck and spent a considerable amount of time recovering. He rode his bicycle everywhere, including his job as a farm assistant, and then while in school worked at an area garage until a state inspector found out he was too young to be working there. He quit school for a semester and ended up at the Ford garage, where he soaked up knowledge and wisdom from those around him. While there, he was able to save up enough money to buy his first car. Do you remember what your first car was, Vernie? Do you remember what your first car was you bought?
First what?
Car?
Model A.
Roadster for $35. Wow. Vernie went to sign up for the Army Air Corps, but his birth date information hadn't been recorded by the doctors, so the family had to make a trip to the courthouse to get the proper documents. During training, as in most of his young life, he found a way to get where he wanted to go with the end of his thumb. He hitchhiked to town as a young boy, as well as across states while in the service, in order to visit Oskaloosa and his girl Shirley. Vernie went on to serve his country, serving in the European theater as a tail gunner on a B-24 Liberator. He was one of the first people to witness jet aircraft in action when in Germany. He set up their Messerschmitt Me-262s. Wells was so shocked by the speed of the aircraft that flew past him, he didn't fire his own weapon, even though the aircraft was so close that he could see the swastika on the pilot's helmet. Vernie found his way back to Oskaloosa and the love of his life after the war was over. He and his wife Shirley married on August 17th of 1947. 1947 was a big year for Wells because it was also the year he started his business, having purchased a drag line. He began to grow his business through hard work and community connections. He built many apartment buildings, such as the Penn, Norwich, and Inglenook, built homes and developed lots for sale, and installed water lines for communities. Today, Vernie continues to look at the future and how his legacy will help others achieve their goals, including scholarships in the new building trade and contributions to the 52577 Scholarship Fund. And today, you can once again find him getting where he needs to go on his new bicycle. Please join me in congratulating Vernie Wells as Citizen of the Year.
Oskaloosa has been 175 years and I'm only 93. And you know, when I was 18, Uncle Sam says, I want you. And now, Uncle Sam, he says, I want your money. And I'm happy to give him some.
Okay, we just have a couple more quick things. We want to say thank you to our outgoing board members, Mike Sitzma and Margaret Ratcliffe. Margaret? We like to give away awards, obviously. I have 3 new board members coming on board in July 1st, so if you would please stand when I say your name. Sarah Dickey from Mahaska Health. Jared Curry from Hy-Vee. I will expect cheesecake at every board meeting, by the way. And then Nick Rule from William Penn. I'm very excited about them coming on board. And then we have just one more special thing. We have some flowers for Carrie Vandery. I asked her husband what your favorite flowers were, and he said Gerber daisies. So there's for all of Carrie's hard work. As most of you know, we're strategically planning, becoming one organization, and Carrie, I think, is at our office more than she is at hers. And she deserves a raise. Great night, and thank you very much for coming out.
Enjoy retirement when it gets here.
Find Deb if you want to pay tonight.
If you don't want to pay,
actually, you have to pay. Find